Can start பண்ணலாம் 11:05 ஆகும். அடுத்து பிரின்சிபல் வந்தாச்சா?
சார் பிரின்சிபல் ஒரு எமர்ஜென்சில
ஓகே ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுங்க.
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடுங்க சார். வாங்க செஷன் good morning to everyone and welcome to today's webinar on generative AI and big data analytics for smart health systems. I am Mabika Larthi, being IEEE Secretary of STP branch 16621, and here I am thrilled to be hosting this session which explores the intersection of cutting the edges like generative AI and big data analytics impact on transforming the healthcare industry. And I am highly honored to hosting this program, and we are having a very high dignitaries over here. Welcome you all, the dignitaries, for this session. And today we will dive into the great generative AI, big data analytics, and smart health systems. We are joined by some incredible experts in the field who will share their knowledge and real world applications of these technologies. Before we start, a few quick housekeeping items that please feel free to ask throughout the webinar. We will have a question answering session at the end. And this webinar is being recorded and the link to the recording will be shared afterwards. I am excited to dive into today's discussion, and without further, let's kick off these things. And then we introduced our distinguished resource person, Dr. Sonali Vyas, ma'am. Thank you for accepting our invitation, ma'am. Ma'am is accomplished academician and researcher with over 14 years of experience in the field of computer science. And ma'am having an extensive publication record with over 120 research papers, received more awards and honors. Dr. Vyas has been recognized with several prestigious awards, including a Research Excellence Award at the year of 2023, National Distinguished Educator Award at the year of 2021, and etc. We are very honored to have you here, ma'am. Let I hand it over the session to you, ma'am. Thank you.
So much. I'm happy to share my insights on research industry. Let me know if screen is.
You can share the screen, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you so much for giving this opportunity so that I can share my knowledge over this idea of generative AI and big data analytics, that how these techniques are revolutionizing the smart health systems and making it more intelligent. As we all know that we are moving towards Industry 6.0. So everything recognized, everything improving day by day and making our lives more comfortable. Big data analysis is helping smart health system, making services not only for the patient but also for the others. By disease detection, drug discovery, efficient hospital management, and personalized medicines. All they are helping in prediction of before it is happening. Together, these technologies are addressing many key challenges which are we facing these days after COVID. So during COVID, we have seen many challenges like for it is happening and we have to rush towards the health centers in physical mode. But with the advent of these AI techniques, now you can take a personalized care of any patient from your home itself because it provides you an environment where everyday or day-to-day activity can be easily tracked with the help of sensors, with the help of biosensors, smart gadgets, which we are using in our day-to-day life. But the concept of generative AI is little bit different from the AI concept. So we will deep dive into this concept of generative AI, that how it is helping healthcare systems. But talking about big data analytics, you know, when such type of techniques are being introduced, then huge amount of data is produced, and each day the data is being vast amount, not only structured form but also in unstructured format. So to handle such type of data in real time, it becomes a challenging part. So big data is helping us in taking care of data, managing it in real time, processing it in the format which we need, which this generative AI model needs. So big data hand in hand with generative AI concept and making our health systems more smarter. Let me know if my slides are changing. I hope it is changing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is generative AI? By using this Venn diagram, I can easily make you understand that AI and ML, with the help of deep learning, arise the concept of generative AI. So in AI, we were working on rule-based intelligence, where we are making the machine learn with the help of rule-based techniques, which were introduced by machine learning. But in case of generative AI, the help of with the help of deep learning, new text, new audio, video, and images can be generated with the help of AI and rule-based techniques. In generative AI, we make use of three main concepts: generative adverse network, variation autoencoders, that now use a complete feature because of them use that keyword in the search history. Okay. So that at the Google. Now in 2018, the of like developed past was giving us the ideas that you can search by of association rules of machine learning. It was giving you the new ideas that if you are looking for, let's say, AI, then it was giving you ideas that with the AI these new ideas are there. Some research paper options, some article options were being introduced with the help of generative models. In 2014, GAN models were introduced. Now, what are GAN models? Networks. Now, generative adversarial networks basically works on the idea of generating fake images or fake text. Now, fake text is being again reproduced multiple times and giving you the advent of having a real image. So you cannot identify that which is real and which is fake. Why such type of idea was generated? So that things become easy to understand. Okay, so we will discuss this again later on in our later slides. In 2015, there was a release of Alexa, and now we are very much in habit of using Alexa. That I want to know that Alexa, what is the weather today before leaving for the office, so that I can make out whether I will carry an umbrella or not, whether to wear woolen clothes or not. And since I'm living in Dehradun, so I'm very much dependent on Alexa, because here weather changes very frequently. In morning, if I am feeling not cold, but in evening there will be rain. Okay, so it is very helpful for me to check about the weather updates with Alexa. Suppose I am feeling happy, so Alexa, please play a happy song for me. Okay, so according to your mood, according to your past history, according to your current situation, you can generate take help of Alexa and generate the activities. Not only in text format, but also in image, audio, video, and other multimodal sequences also. Now, in 2019, ChatGPT was introduced. Now, ChatGPT was introduced to take help of and learning model. It was a learning model. So, taking help of ChatGPT in our generating few texts related to some case studies, related to some keywords, related to some already existing text. So, ChatGPT was helping us, like a human-like text was introduced by ChatGPT using NLP models. Okay, but in after 2021, there was a concept which was introduced, generative AI technology, and since now also we are using this concept, okay, in our day-to-day activities. Now, a very funny incident happened in my class. I gave some assignment to the students, and they did it in within 15 minutes, and I was shocked. So everyone was using ChatGPT. Now it becomes very hard to find out whether the assignment is written by the students or by the ChatGPT. And I'm so thankful to Turnitin that they have introduced this AI plagiarism detection technique, by which we can easily make out which is AI detected, which is AI generated or which is human generated. So ChatGPT is solely using this generative AI technology because it is learning from your text. It is generating some text which is giving the feel that it is human-like text. Okay, so this is the concept of GAN, where a feed text is generated, and it is generated in such a form that it gives you feel that it is generated by some human. Okay, so this is the detailed view that where generative AI resides in whole AI hierarchy. Now, how does generative AI works? So first, we gather data. Data is collected from different data sources, and then a structural design is created for that data by using some AI model. After that, the GAN model is trained. Now, for the GAN model training, let me introduce you this particular framework of GAN. Please mute your mic. I am experiencing some noise. I think any user is using the mic. Please mute yourself. Deepanjan Datta, please mute your mic. Yeah, thank you so much. So this is the framework of GAN, that is Generative Adversarial Network. So here you can see that random input is there. Here you can see a random input is there. A random input is fed to the generator. Generator is basically the machine learning model. So generator is being fed by this random input, and on the basis of the search history or a previous text, a fake image is introduced. Now you can just check what is fake image and what is real image. There is a little bit difference in both these image discriminator. What is discriminator? Basically, discriminator will classify the images on the basis of the rule-based technique which is fed into the machine. Okay, so now discriminate, it automatically discriminate which is fake and which is real. So two concepts are being used by generative AI. One is generator, which will generate the image, audio, or video, and the discriminator that this is the real text and this is the fake text. But here one more concept is there. After a GAN model is being trained, then adversarial training is done. Now, what is adversarial training? Now, what happens once the or fake text detected by GAN, it is being fed into adversarial training model where it is being enhanced. So the fake image, fake text, or anything fake which was rated is enhanced so that a particular grown into such way that it gives you feel that is human like or human generated audio, human generated video, or human generated text. Now after and at the last, whatever output you are getting, the performance is being evaluated by performance matrices, and we all are aware that performance matrices are there which helps you in detecting the quality of your text, quality of the audio video which is being generated by the generative AI. Okay, now types of generative AI. So we can categorize the generative AI model based on the uses which we are putting forward or based on the input which we are giving to the generative AI model or the output which we are seeking from generative AI model. So if we are using it for textual data, then it is known as text-based generative AI model, where large language models are there like ChatGPT, BERT, LSTM, etc. Image-based models are for image generating new images. Okay, like DALL-E model is there, which is very, very famous, where on the basis of existing image, we can generate new images. So if you have introduced, let's say, a plant disease, you are working on some plant disease. So you have inputted the data of plants and the disease which is there. So it will generate new data related to those images. Okay, so synthetic data generation is also part of this. Audio based generation, like in Alexa, voice synthesis model is there, or you can also introduce noise reduction models. Okay, so when you are using Alexa, the noise which is there around you is being reduced so that that voice assistant can easily be heard by the Alexa and the results are being given to you. Video based models or video based generative models, so motion prediction models. Okay, so these type of models are now being introduced in the video calls and also in your video cameras which you introduce for the security purpose in your homes. Sensor based data, you know, when a person is walking inside the room, suddenly there will be motion detection is there and a voice assistant will say you good morning. Okay, so such type of technologies are being introduced and used by the robot assisted technologies. Mixed multimodal, so mixed model like text to image conversion, voice activatable assistant, and also motion detection activity voice assistant. So such type of models are there in generative AI modeling. Now where we can use generative AI? So everywhere, in every, it is being there. It is very much. If I am designing Vastu based Vastu Shastra, so it will give you a feel. A 3D designing will be there of a whole building. Okay, music composition. So based on earlier music, if I want to generate some new song, so it can be helpful. Content creation, virtual worlds in metaverse. in metaverse, recently I was working on one book. I was authoring one book, Metaverse for Healthcare, and soon it will be published by Springer. In that book, when I was authoring it, I was writing one case study, virtual reality based healthcare training. Okay, so by using AR VR, medical students were trained. So need not to dissect a cockroach or a frog. You can easily work on a human body, not on the samples of actual human body, but in virtual assisted environment, in AR/VR environment. A person is working on the human body and easily understanding the internal organs of a human body. So such type of environment are also there in Abu Dhabi and other countries. This is forecast in stock markets, customer behavior analysis. So if I want to understand for my business purpose that how customer will react on the new product, so I can work generate some feedback system. By using feedback system, I can generate the graphics that or stats that how customers will be happy, satisfied or not. Demand forecasting, healthcare diagnosis and prognosis. So we will talk about healthcare detail because this talk is totally dedicated to healthcare. Fraud detection, yes, very much. Based on the past history, fraud can be easily detected in the upcoming challenges of any type of data or deepfake detection, etc. Okay, generative AI in healthcare. So here I would like to take a pause and ask you a question. Suppose in your surrounding, if suppose a person is there who is of 80 years of age, unable to walk, and is suffering from a diabetic situation, which requires regular checkups. Okay, now painful it is for that person to visit physical premises of hospital again and again. What if in his home only or a particular room is dedicated for his regular is there, and how convenient it comes for that person just sit in that chair, just place the hand on the device and get the checkup done, or wearing that smartwatch and regular taken. So it becomes easy? Yes or no? Just give your reactions. Yeah, to switch back to this window. Yes, give your reaction. Doesn't it become easy for a person who is suffering from diabetes, of a very elderly age? No need to visit the healthcare centers in physical mode. Just by sitting on the chair or in the bed, he can easily check whether it is an alarming situation or not. So give your reaction by putting any sign like thumbs up or hand raise. Yes, it becomes easy. Yes. Thank you so much. So generative AI enables such type of environment for those who are unable to walk, unable to visit hospitals again and again on daily basis. So it is very helpful for disabled people, for elderly people, for infants, and for those people who are more prone to chronic diseases. Okay. So generative AI healthcare holds immense promise, offering tools such as for personalized medicine, streamlined operation, enhanced clinical decision making. But again, still research are going on to make it better, to provide security to the data, to provide more enhanced services. So still research is going on. Okay, still some assistive technology is being researched. So we will talk about open research areas in this field in our later slides. Now, benefits of generative AI for healthcare. First and foremost benefit is cost reduction, time reduction. So no need to stand in long queues of hospital for just filling one form. Okay, enhance enchanted efficiency. Why enchanted word is used? Because nobody has thought of that how easy life will become after the introduction of smartwatches. Yes, so smartwatches are taking your or keeping tracking your steps, tracking your heartbeat, tracking your oxygen levels, etc. And just also generating some alert messages if something happens. Okay, so enchanted efficiency is there, improved accuracy. Suppose your heart rate is going low or heart rate is going so up, so you immediately rush towards the hospital centers and get it checked. And yes, it was showing you the accurate signs. Okay. So accuracy is also being improved. Better patient outcomes. Yes, why not? Patients are happy now. Innovation and research. Yes, very much. So innovation and research, because every day new research is coming on in the area of generative AI for healthcare. And since I am researching from past so many years in this healthcare industry, so earlier I was working on machine learning models for healthcare. Then I switched to AI. Then I switched to IOBNT, that is nanotechnology, biosensors, how they are helpful in AI. Now I am working in generative AI, and soon I'll be working in some other new area which will be there for healthcare and how it is assisting and improving the patient experiences as well as practitioner experiences. So for AI, for healthcare, how generative AI is being introduced? First and foremost, medical image reconstruction. So for medical image reconstruction, like for ECG. So for understanding that ECG, a regular checkup is needed. A regular ECG is being tracked. Okay. Now what if a 3D image is given? Then it becomes easy to understand. Or a band is being ingested by into the body of the patient, and it is giving you regular data. Okay, so one of my scholars is working in this non-invasive methods of biosensors in healthcare. So a chip will be implanted into the system of a person, human system, and giving you vitals on daily basis. Drug generation, drug discovery, disease prognosis, prediction. So before happening of the disease, it is being told to the patient that this disease can happen. So start taking preventive measures. Okay. Virtual patient simulation. It is very helpful for medical students and researchers. Automated medical coding, patient journey prediction. So it is keeping track of the history of a patient, and it is giving the prediction on the basis of those history. Okay. Adaptive optimization, anomaly detection in patient data, patient specific treatment, clinical reports. So all this is uh, very easy patient data to capture it, to process it, so that disease of a patient, preventive measures. Also, you also like prescribing patient the medicines, medicines, drug discovery, etc. Now, generative AI in healthcare. So for generative in healthcare, we need something. Now, what are those techniques? What are those backbone of AI? Let us understand them. Now for scaling. Scaling means we are expanding the healthcare premises. We are going beyond that. Okay, so we are going beyond the physical boundaries of healthcare professions, departments, centers, and setting the environment in the virtual format around the patient itself, around the practitioner itself. So healthcare settings like more flexible, giving more flexible environment. Scalable technology infrastructure will be there. Strategic approach to the deployment will be there. Leveraging big data. So how? Because tons of data is being produced. When I am saying that a band is capturing your data and generating data in the real time, so just imagine in within a seconds how much data is being volumes of data is being introduced or generated. Now to handle this data is done by big data technology. So not only related to textual data, also related to image data. So it can be in any form, genomic information, related to your genes, related to DNA, RNA. So all these data is being captured, stored securely, and also generate. On the basis of this data, we can easily do processing, decision making, and also drug discovery, precision medicine can be introduced, telemedicine can be introduced. So big data is very, very helpful. Now, strategic planning and investment. Identifying healthcare challenges and also invest in those challenges so that those challenges can overcome. So generative AI model is not only in taking care of patient, money into the healthcare and how more investment can be done. Successful integration. So technical integration not only with the IT systems but also with the applications which are here on new tool efficiency, new tools which are introduced, how efficiently they are working for the generative AI healthcare systems. So these things are also being taken care by generative AI. Now let us talk about big data analytics. That how for some these big data techniques can work. So sources of big data in health. At present, all the data which is managed at departments, at medical departments, or at your is being done with the help of EHR, electronic health record. It is fed into the system, taken care. Every person or every patient given an ID. On the basis of that ID, history of patient can easily be but okay. So now AI powered will be there. AI powered EHR means I am giving my putting PID is patient identification number. So PID is being told the system and the images that this was the history in the form of charts, visualization, etc. And it will be put forward to the medical practitioner, and the doctor can easily make out what was the drug given earlier, how we can improve on it, what vitals to be checked. So AI powered EHR will be introduced soon. And IoT devices. So I was talking about smartwatches. ECG monitors are also being introduced, which will be biosensor based. No more pricking into the human body. A belt will be there. It will be worn by the human and easily it will be checked. Okay, and also some smart tattoos are being introduced. Everybody know what are tattoos? A marking for some fashion or some purposes we put on our body. Imprinting is there. Now such tattoos will be there, let's say here at the heart. And those tattoos are not just a design, it is a kind of patch. And that patch is taking your heart rate regularly, every second. So such type of things are being introduced. Please mute your mic. I am getting disturbance from any user. So genomic sequencing data. genomic sequencing, taking care of those genomes so that genetic diseases can be identified. Medical imaging data sets. So to handle all these things, we take use of big data analytics. Now applications, predictive analytics for early disease detection. So if big data is storing everything in real time, so early disease detection can easily be done. AI powered patient monitoring, resource optimization in hospitals. So if any resource is going out, so early prediction can be done that this resource is needed in heavy amount. So a stock can be filled before it goes out. Okay. So during COVID, it was happening actually. During COVID, like those masks and everything was running out, and before it was short of amount, it was being packed. So such type of resource optimization can be introduced with the help of big data analytics. This is a rough diagram or a framework which is telling us that how this big data is helping in analyzing in descriptive, diagnostic, predictive and prescriptive analysis of data and giving you more smarter and cost-effective decisions on the basis of healthcare. Now let us talk about the case studies. So I will take 3 case studies, and by the help of these case studies, I would like to make you understand that how generative AI is used or is at present being used by various industries, by various companies for making the healthcare industries more efficient. So first case study is of Doximity Dialer AI. This AI is enhancing patient communication with healthcare practitioners. How? Let us see the environment of Doximity. So Doximity is an app in your mobile where you can one-to-one discussion. You have to register yourself. So all information is being there. And support from the practitioner. So the system is facilitation consultations. It is automatically giving you appointment reminders. It is taking follow up of your data, of your disease, of your chronic states, and also provide cured message, encrypted message technique, which the system transcribes patient conversation and generates summaries on the medical records. Suppose I want to check what happened in 1 month, past 1 month, so I can summary will be there and I can easily go through that summary. So not only for patient, for medical practitioners also, it becomes easy to keep track of their patients. It is improving patient satisfaction by providing accessible and clear communication. Sometimes there is very much complaint by patients that when we are visiting to a doctor is not giving us full time. Doctor is not hearing us out. Okay, just by listening to us that I am having cold or I am having fever, he starts giving the prescription, writing the prescription, not hearing what earlier status, what was the history, how many times a person is having fever. So not bothered about that. He just gave you 5 to 6 medicines, and on the basis of that medicines, he is prescribing it or taking care of your disease. So to avoid such type of things, a patient is not satisfied. So to avoid this dissatisfaction, a person is using such type of apps where a doctor is listening to you carefully. Okay. So this is the environment of Doximity. And Doximity is providing you automated patient follow-ups Prompt response to the patients. So not delayed response, prompt response is there, which progressing the recovery of patient. Watch consultations. So with the help of telehealth, patient is just on the tap of a mobile app is visiting the virtual environment of hospital. Okay, and AI generated summaries are being documented during the conversation. AI bot is there which is recording everything and giving you highlights of the conversation you had with the doctor, and also prompting you that any chronic thing is happening, then it is giving you alerts. It is my favorite case study. Why? Because in India, not only in India, in world, we are hearing cardiac arrest cases very frequently. Very, like 87% of population is being having the heart diseases. Okay, and if these heart diseases are early predicted, then we can stop this heart attack problems or deaths which are happening due to cardiac arrest or heart attack or any other heart disease. Okay, so what if I tell you that services are available in a place of at your homes only? You can keep track of your heart, that whether it is uh, moving or working properly or not. Everybody will be happy to know that, because at our home, near dear ones, our parents, grandparents, etc., need such type of devices. So this is the device. Can you see? This is the device. A small plate. Just you have to calibrate this device with your mobile phones, and you can easily keep track of your heart rate. Now you will say that, ma'am, smartwatches are there. I agree to you. Smartwatches are there. But even smartwatches are not that much efficient. So, mobile introduce such type of device, Alif Core. It is a so when we see what comes in our head, those patches are put here. So 6 or 7 patches are there, and they are keeping heart rate regular. That whether now what if there is there, you have to just keep your fingers this patch, and easily your heart rate is being checked. This device, that it is AI powered. First of all, text first flip and bycatch. What is AFib? A small fluctuation in the is captured by this device. Cardia, when the heart rate is gradually lowering, it is going low. So it can detect that and generate an alert message on your mobile. If your heart rate is going shooting up, so that is bradycardia. So bicardia means it is shooting up so high that you have to take. Okay. Plus, it is also having Bluetooth enabled ECG sensor. So within 30 seconds, it can give you a record that your heart rate is moving so fast or low, or there is a fluctuation, and alert messages given to your mobile phone so that you can work upon it. Over 1 million patients are monitoring their hearts currently, presently, with the help of this device. And we were unaware of it. Case study. So a 65-year-old patient is using Cardia Mobile to detect ECG. It helped the to diagnose paroxysmal AFib. Now AFib is really very hard to analyze. It is really very hard to detect AFib because a small fluctuation here, and it can easily be tracked by this device, and heart attack rate can be normalized. Okay, so this is the device, this is the way it is given, that how to record ECG. And I have already purchased this device for my mother, because my grandmother was having this heart attack problem. So obviously, if we take it like a hereditary problem, then I am already taking care of my mother with the help of this device, and I'm so relaxed now. Now, case study 3, transforming healthcare with generative AI. So, Mayo Clinic is very famous healthcare center or institute where even patients are being taken care. So, Mayo Clinic is using generative AI for introducing radiology reports. Okay, now radiology reports means X-ray, MRI, CT are all being taken care by generative techniques. And by automating these, the accuracy is enhanced, radiologist workload is being reduced, and generative AI is giving more data-centric data for medical practices. So it is already being followed by Mayo Clinic. Let me give you a case study which is there in research papers also. If anybody wants, I would like to work on this particular study. So just drop me an email and we can collaborate and connect, and happy to work on this particular part, that how AI generated reports can easily take care of the patients at fast rate as compared to human generated reports. So Sarah, there was a patient, a 47-year-old woman, which was having a history of breast cancers and was taking frequent MRI scans for this disease monitoring. So if anybody who is working in under this research of breast cancer, so mammograms are being taken, which are very, very painful. So to make non-invasive methods will become very easy. So what if the AI system is being introduced? So radiology report are being AI generated. So if anything happens, a small minute cyst is there or a tumor is there, it is being diagnosed easily with the help of AI generated techniques. Okay, so AI generated reports were reviewed and validated by radiologists within minutes, and a small lesion was there which was initially overlooked, but with the help of generative AI, a faster diagnosis was introduced for Sarah, and now she is out of this breast cancer history. So early detection is very much helpful. Enhanced detection is also very much helpful, and treatments can be easily recommended by the AI system, and also it is very much helpful. But again, with benefits, we know there are challenges associated. So there are challenges in deploying generative AI for healthcare. For most challenges, ethics and risk. We have to follow some ethics for introducing generative AI in healthcare. Also, biasness in the data. So for training data, if suppose it is biased, then outcomes will be also biased. Need for large data systems so that we can easily train our systems. If large model are being introduced to take care of such data, more transparency so that there can be clear documentation and decision making can be clear from practitioner point of view and as well as patient point of view. So there should be a transparency. Interpretability. So decision making process of AI must be understandable by the practitioner and also trustworthy. So there should be a regular audit of these techniques and also a check of these techniques, that whether they are into the ethics or not. Now 6G. Why I am taking this 6G? Because we are moving towards Industry 6.0 where 6G is in trend. Okay, now how this 6G trend is helping healthcare? So generative AI models, we have talked a lot and we have taken case studies. So say in 6G, generative AI models will be revolutionizing clinical documentation, medical image analysis, and drug discovery. AI powered chatbots will be introduced. So no need to visit just for a small fee, no need to visit hospitals. At your home only, virtual assistants will be there who will help you out in taking care and predicting the health reports and give you some support related to drug discovery. Ambulances or patient will visit the hospital. Digital twins, yes, a virtual model of patient body so that in real time simulation can be done and personal treatment can be given. IoT enabled wearable AI powered genomic sequencing so that drug discovery can be done accurately and therapies can be given to the patients. Big data analytics, we have talked about it. Precision medicines so that right medicine should be given to the right person. AI integrated blockchain environment so that security can be given to the patients. AI powered robotic assistants. Robots are there, but they are not well trained, or humanoids are being introduced in 6G so that accurate surgeries can be done. Yeah, I was reading a paper where a surgery was mentioned by using AI robot. So somewhere in Abu Dhabi or somewhere it was being introduced, and such type of surgeries was done by robots, but again accuracy is less. Exoskeleton and brain computer interfaces are introduced for mobility of paralyzed patients. AI powered implantable biosensor. So I was talking about you IOBNT, a capsule taking a sensor into your body and taking or keeping a regular check of your body, and also excreting from the human system as we excrete our body waste. Metaverse powered hospitals, so AR VR environment will be constructed so that every medical student can get a feel that they are working on actual body. AI powered brainwave analysis, so for predicting mood disorders, mood swings, cognitive decline, etc. Now these are some open research areas in generative AI for healthcare, and you can easily if you are looking for some research into this area, I am happy to help you out. So explainable and trustworthy AI, because AI somewhere there is a dilemma whether to use AI for health or not. So to overcome such dilemma, trustworthy environments or some rule should be introduced so that ethics can be developed for AI. AI driven drug discovery and personalized medicine, yes, some of my scholars are working under this particular field where they are working on generating AI models for drug discovery on Alzheimer's disease. Generative AI for medical imaging and diagnostics, yes, very much. How you can make 3D images of ECG, how you can make 3D images of MRI scans. So such type of research are being going on. AI augmented EHR, as I was talked before, that EHR which is AI enhanced. So it can give you early alert messages based on your history. Generative AI in virtual health assistants and chatbots. So chatbots and robots can be introduced with the help of generative AI, which are trained on the basis of your history so that they can easily generate messages or tell you that this may happen within 2-3 days. Suppose a person who is diabetic can happen to be having a retina disease or something, so it can give you alert message before it happens. AI for predictive healthcare and early disease detection, yes, very much. ethical, legal, societal implications of generative AI, where something is being generated by machine. So we become some little bit skeptical whether to use such type of models or not. So for this purpose, ethical and legal measures are being reviewed so that we can put a copyright or put a label that yes, they are safe to use for the body. AI powered healthcare robotics, yes, very much robots should be there so that medical practitioners can take help of these robots and make their work easy. Privacy preserving AI in healthcare, so security and privacy is again a big challenge where real-time data should be secured and preserved by some standards so that practitioners and person who are giving you the data are well aware that where their data are being used. So all these are open research areas where a person can work on if they are interested in generative AI for healthcare or big data analytics for healthcare or 6G for healthcare, because 6G is what? The era of generative AI, where we are making use of communication standards and also making use of sensors for capturing data and moving that data to practitioners, healthcare centers, and making patients' life easy. So thank you so much. If anybody is having any kind of doubt or questions or would like to work on something, I'm happy to help you out.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Ma'am, this is Rasika from Queen's College of Engineering. Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, you have mentioned that you have worked on various technologies like sensors, machine learning, and now currently on generative AI, ma'am. Which you felt more easy to learn, and which would you suggest students to work on final year projects, ma'am?
Okay, so like machine learning is the base. Okay, like for we say C language is mother of all languages. So machine learning is base. You have to learn machine learning techniques so that you can efficiently work in generative AI. But today the era is of generative AI, and it is making life easy not only for patients but also for practitioners. So I would suggest that try to learn generative AI models like large language learning models, also VAIE or GAN. So such models are there. So start learning from machine learning and then switch to generative AI.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, anyone else?
Is Mohan speaking, Dr. Sonali?
Hi.
Yeah. So you are mentioning about the 6G. There was a slide on 6G related thing.
Yes, yes.
Okay, they are more of a generic to AI and things rather than the. Are we talking something closer to the communication or the generic AI in that? The 5G and the impact of 5G, because any remote health services requires a good amount of communication and things related. What is the level of 5G implementation in the country, and then how it will impact the overall implementation of some of the technologies?
Yeah. I related this 6G to healthcare because when a patient data is being captured by any smart gadget, so that data needs to be communicated to healthcare centers or to the medical practitioners for diagnosis. Okay. So if vitals are being captured, let's say by smartwatch, those vitals should be shared. So for that purpose, 6G technology can be helpful because 6G is an enhanced version of what we are using today. Because today also we feel there are lots and lots of problems in network, mobile network or internet services, due to which data can be corrupted sometimes. Okay, but in 6G, a security model is also being introduced so that whatever messages are being transferred anywhere, so all these messages are encrypted first or in secured model way, they are being transferred from one place to another place and also in real time. Okay, so when a person who is sitting in a chair and he is diabetic and sending vitals through the smart band, so that data should be transferred to medical practitioner in time. And for that purpose, 6G is very fast technology and easy to communicate. And if the doctor is also sending some prescription, then that prescription is AI generated on the screen, on the monitor, or in the app. So for that purpose, a smooth communication should be there. For AR, VR also, a smooth communication should be there in the real time.
No, I was just trying to find out the level of communication network facility available in the country, because 6G itself is under development. So we're not even, I think many of the telcos, they are yet to start 5G in India. Like, so
Yeah.
still they are talking only about 4G and implementation of 4G and things like that. So the limitation of using some of the communication technology and linking the
Yeah,
AI
still research
technology.
is
Yeah,
still
because
research is going in the Indian scenario,
yeah, the
but outside
realistic,
they have started using
realistic,
5G.
no, that is okay, but we are in India and we need to worry about Indian people, using and what is the government of India's, role in implementing some of these technologies, and any, are you aware of any developments happening in the government about implementing this AI in medical care?
Yeah, some standards are being introduced by medical institutes, like HIPAA is there for capturing the data, and also there are some models which are being introduced, like for during COVID actually. The AR/VR consultations were introduced by government. Some medical websites are there where you can go and register yourself. So these mobiles, medical seva, something, there is a app where you can register yourself and check about your medical practitioners and connect with them, and there. But still, lots of research is going on.
Okay.
So anyone else?
Ma'am, some of us passed through the chat box.
Okay.
If it is possible, you can do this.
Yeah, let me open the chat box.
What is the ideal data set required to create a disease reduction model based on images? If you are collecting a real world image.
For disease detection model based on images, if we are collecting real world images. Okay, so ideal data set, if you are collecting in real time, then it will be huge amount of data. It should be huge amount. Like not only 500 images will give you accurate results. Okay, so it should be around beyond 10,000 or beyond 5,000. So minimum will be 5,000 and beyond that will be maximum, because for accuracy purpose, for prediction purpose, or for precision and etc. It should be huge amount of data. So you can generate synthetic data based on some of the images you are having with you, and generate synthetic data using generative AI model and work on that. So it will give you correct results. Role of XAI in healthcare. So XAI is very much talked about these days, because everything needs some explanations. And as I have talked about that, still medical practitioners are also skeptical about using these AI bots or these smart gadgets for their medical purposes. So XAI is giving them the standards that how this technique will be helpful. So XAI plays a very vital role in healthcare, because it makes patient life also easy, because it helps in understanding the disease in the depth of the patient, and also it will give you some checks related to the history of the patient. Not only the medical practitioner will work on that history and make generative AI use in explainable AI, and generate a model or generate a healthcare model where everybody is comfortable in working. So it reduces the skepticalness of the patient. I think all these two I have given answers, and they are very much satisfied on that.
Dr. Venkateswarlu wants to ask some question.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can unmute and then ask question.
Venkateshwarlu? Yes.
Venkateswarlu, yeah, I think you can unmute and then ask the question. Venkateswarlu. He has raised the hand, so he can unmute and then. Yeah, you can unmute and then ask the question, Venkateswarlu.
Yeah. Just a minute. I am searching for him. I can't unmute actually. Aarti, you have to unmute him.
What about
Okay, his network is not good. You can write it in chat.
network is not good like that.
Okay, I am writing my email ID in chat. If anyone wants to connect with me over this particular topic, can connect. I am happy to help you out. Anyone else? Any questions? Mohan sir, you are on mute.
Aarti, group photo எடுத்துருங்களா?
Sure, sir. Can everyone open your video? Shall we take one snap?
Okay.
1 minute, sir.
Everyone, please switch on your cameras.
Yeah, everyone, please. Open your camera. Three, two, one. I shall take. Yes, Buddha. Three, two, one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sonali, for the wonderful overview presentation.
Thank you, sir.
We very much appreciate for your time and efforts.
Thank you.
Dr. Sonali,
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sonali. It was very informative and insightful also of the academia, because most of your session was towards the research. So it is highly beneficial to the students who are attending today to go into this directions further, because everybody talks about Gen AI, okay, fine, but to the smart, it is connected to the smart healthcare. A lot of things have to be, as Mr. Mohan was talking about, the communication protocols. So when we develop in research, we'll be using a simulated version of communication, correct?
Yes.
But actual, in the internet with the 6G implemented, we will face a lot of real-time issues.
Real-time problems.
Yeah, real time. So, and also what you were talking about is Iris synthetic data. Again, it is a highly biased. Correct. Somebody has to give, as you said, the database is very, very large. Then only the prediction would be at least approximate.
Yes.
The database is very small and simple, then prediction, everything, whatever you give it. But when it is applicable to the real-time scenario, the output will be completely
Yeah.
So these are all the things which we need to go further in this direction. Yeah, so the communication, because the communication already we started with the telemedicine itself before Corona itself, but slowly it comes to, because latency and the speed, we have to look at it. So that is what the 6G comes.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
So
And
6G,
sometimes what happened that awareness is not there. Like this small product, LF Core is there in the market, but
Okay.
people are not aware of it.
okay.
So
And my question is here: have you tested with the 5G the real-time internet? That's what.
yeah, so I was using one app. In that app, there was a virtual consultation going on with my mother and the doctor. And what happened in between, the interruptions were there, noise was there. So still, like for Indian
No,
scenario,
because it goes into the open network. It goes
Yeah.
into the public network.
public network.
So
And
would you be suggesting that personal leased network needs to be there? 100%.
First, dedicated network should be there.
That is very impossible, right? So a common man cannot purchase it and cannot use it. So the government has to take certain
Government
initiatives that, like e-seva, as you said, the medical e-seva. So you can go there, and because all the related testing equipments will be there, so the patient can go. It should be connected to dedicated network, as you said. If it is, then almost 50% of the issues can be solved.
Yes, very right.
Right. Thank you very much.
Ayurveda is also being introduced by government. Ayurveda.
Okay, yeah, fine. That is also.
Yeah.
So that's what dedicated e-seva. If it is coming and networking with the lease lines, it will be appropriate to say that a smart healthcare real-time system.
Yes.
Otherwise, it will be delayed. Already, you can just get all the diagnostic reports and send, as a. That will not be real time. But
Yeah.
you were completely talking about not on real time. It is only a safeguarding your medical history,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
It's okay. Thank you so much. It was, the students would have enjoyed it and got very good directions on the dimensions of it. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It was really great to share knowledge. And, when you share knowledge, lots of problems you also comes to know, and you can research. So it is
Yeah,
a
definitely.
two-way.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And
Thank you.
I have to appreciate Dr. Karthi who organized this. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Karthi.
As a token of our gratitude, we just want to share the virtual honoring to our resource person.
Oh, okay.
Shall we, ma'am?
Yeah.
Thank you for accepting our invitation, ma'am. And
Wow,
being a
this is so
part of our
beautiful.
session. And thank you to our IEEE chairman, Sohati ma'am, Mohan sir, for allowing us to host the program like this. We got a very much knowledge from the ma'am. We got one idea of medical e-seva. Thank you. Thank you for your valuable time with us.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you, Mohan sir, for giving this opportunity. And thank you.
As we conclude this event, I would like to invite Rasika IEEE WI Chair of STD 11621.
Good afternoon to everyone present here. As we come to the end of this enlightening webinar session, I would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished resource person, Dr. Sonali Vyasna, for insightful presentation on generative AI and big data analysis for smart health system has truly enriching, and we are grateful for the knowledge and experience you have shared with us today. We are particularly thankful for the valuable research ideas, case studies shared with us, ma'am, which will undoubtedly inspire and guide our future research endeavors. Additionally, we appreciate the information you provided on the various equipments and technologies used in generative AI and big data analytics. I would also like to extend a sincere thanks to IEEE's Dr. Mohan ma'am for her tireless efforts in supporting and guiding us throughout this event. Your leadership and expertise have been invaluable to us, ma'am. We are also grateful to IEEE's Chair, Dr. Mohan sir, for his continued support and encouragement to presence here today has meant a great deal to us, sir. I would also like to thank our principal, IGPHTB 166 counselor, Dr. J. Arpudha Vijay ma'am, for her unwavering support and guidance. Leadership and vision have been instrumental in making this event a success, ma'am. To all other respected dignitaries and IGPHTB, we are honored to have had the opportunity to host this event, and we are grateful for your support and encouragement. We are thrilled to have had the chance to organize this event. We look forward to hosting more events like this in the future. Once again, I would like to thank Dr. Sonali Vyas ma'am for taking the time to join with us today and for sharing her expertise with us. Presidency today has been a privilege for us, ma'am, and we are grateful for the opportunity to learn from you. Thank you all once again, and we look forward to continued support and guidance. Thank you.